Philadelphia News, team of my heart.
You know that feeling when you watch the Sixers and think, man, we're so close, but something is still missing. That pain of being right there, almost seeing a contender, but still knowing the roster has cracks that could cost you when it matters most? That's exactly where you are right now as the new season creeps in. You've seen this before. The high hopes, the excitement of Sixers news rolling in, the debates about every little trade possibility, and still, the same questions remain. Will this roster really be enough to take you where you dream of going? And let's be honest, you've lived through the roller coaster of waiting on injuries, wondering who's truly reliable night after night. You felt the frustration when a season filled with promise slips away, not because of talent, but because of availability, because of fit, because something was always just off. That's the pain. It stings because you know the Sixers have the star power. You know the backcourt is already talented, yet you still feel like there's one more piece missing. Now here's where the promise comes in. Imagine someone out there, yes, someone very real, who could be the answer to that missing link. Someone who doesn't just replicate what you already have, but brings something entirely different, something complementary. Think about it. While Maxey is electric, while McCain, Edgecombe, and Grimes bring flashes of excitement, you also know they all share similar strengths and weaknesses. What if the Sixers could find a piece that breaks that mold? Now, here's where the curiosity kicks in. There's a player out there who checks boxes that the Sixers desperately need. Size, defense, balance. A player who could actually line up next to Maxey and not just coexist, but unlock an even better version of him. Doesn't that spark your imagination? Doesn't it make you want to know who that could be, and more importantly, how realistic it is for the Sixers to actually make that move? I want you to stay with me on this, because what I'm about to share could change the way you look at this roster altogether. And here's the challenge for you. As I unfold this Sixers news story, I want you to try and guess the name of the player I'm talking about. Drop in the comments the exact moment you realized who it was, because I promise, if you really pay attention, you're going to see why he stands out from the rest. The Sixers' backcourt might be deep, but depth doesn't always mean balance. You already know that. Too often teams load up with similar pieces and end up stuck when the pressure rises. What you need is variety, complement, the right kind of pairing. And believe it or not, there's someone on the market who offers exactly that. Think about the frustration you've had watching certain rotations that just didn't mesh. Guards stepping on each other's toes, lineups that felt like copies instead of combinations. You've shouted at the screen, why don't they just make a trade that fixes this? This, right here, could be the solution. And before you brush this off as some fantasy, know this, it's not. This isn't a dream scenario. The situation with this player's current team might actually force their hand, which means, for once, the Sixers could be in the perfect spot to swoop in and solve a problem that has haunted you for years. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've heard this before. You've seen names linked to the Sixers that made you roll your eyes, right? But this one is different. This isn't about chasing a superstar that doesn't fit or bringing in another version of someone you already have. This is about finally finding a puzzle piece that locks in with the others. Let's face it, when you imagine Maxey at his best, running free, scoring at will, and still having someone next to him who can take on the defensive battles, it feels like a dream, doesn't it? You know how dangerous this team could be if Maxey didn't have to carry both ends of the floor every night. You've been waiting for that partner. You've been waiting for that balance. That's why this Sixers news isn't just about another rumor. It's about a potential answer to the same old pain. And that's why you need to follow every detail of this. Because if this move happens, it could reshape what you expect from this season. So, here's the promise to you. Stick with me as I unravel this story. You're going to see exactly why this player is a fit, why the Sixers should be bold enough to make the call, and how it could finally give you what you've been begging for: stability, balance, and a backcourt that actually complements itself instead of overlapping. And remember, don't just watch, play along with me. Guess the moment you figure out who the mystery player is. And tell me in the comments. That way you're not just hearing the news, you're part of it. Because this isn't just another trade rumor. This could be the one that makes you believe again. So here's where things start to get real for you as a Sixers fan. You've been patient, you've sat through endless Sixers news cycles, hearing the same chatter about this roster being good enough. But deep down, you've always known the truth. It isn't, at least not yet. And that's where this conversation matters, because for once, the solution doesn't feel like a fantasy, it feels like something tangible. Think about the way this team is built. You already know Maxey is your engine. He's the guy who makes you leap off your couch with every drive to the basket. But how many times have you sat there thinking, why does he have to do everything? Why does he have to be the scorer, the creator, the spark, and then also be expected to hold his ground against bigger, stronger guards on the other end? That's the problem. That's the pain point. And if you've been honest with yourself, you've seen it coming for years. Now picture this. A guard next to Maxey who isn't just another shooter or another undersized scorer, but someone who can bring size, length, and defensive instincts that actually protect him. Imagine Maxey finally having the freedom to focus on what he does best, blow by defenders, score at will, and run the show offensively without being worn down by every matchup on defense. That's what this mystery player represents. But here's where the real twist comes in. His current team, they might actually be in a spot where they have to consider letting him go. Not because of talent, not because he doesn't fit, but because of something you've seen across the league. Money, tax aprons, cap space, all the messy details that front offices can't escape. And that opens a door that the Sixers could walk right through if they're bold enough. You've been frustrated before when Philly sat on their hands, letting opportunities pass by, while other teams reshaped themselves overnight with one smart trade. Remember how it felt when other teams reshaped themselves overnight? That sinking feeling in your stomach? That's the pain you don't want to relive again. This time, the Sixers can't afford to just stand pat. Now, I want you to weigh in here because this is where it gets interesting. Do you think this front office has the guts to make the bold call? Drop a comment and tell me yes or no, because this could end up being one of those decisions you look back on all season. And if you're really with me until now, type the word balance in the comments. That way I know you're one of the fans who stuck around to catch the deeper point in all this. Let's make it clear, this isn't about adding another body to the rotation. This is about flipping the script. You know as well as I do that talent without chemistry is meaningless. And while you've got talented guards already, they mirror each other more than they complement. That's the flaw. That's the reason why something always feels incomplete. The solution? It's this player. The one you've probably been trying to guess since the beginning. The one who can step in, play next to Maxey, and bring something nobody else on this roster truly has. And here it is, the name you've been waiting for. That player is Anthony Black. Yes, the very same Anthony Black who came into the league as a top draft pick. A guard with size, defensive tools, and the exact skill set you've been begging the Sixers to add. He's not a duplicate of what you already have. He's the missing piece that could let Maxey flourish without overlap, without compromise. So let me ask you this. Do you believe Anthony Black is worth making a move for? Should the Sixers risk shaking up their rotation to finally fix this balance problem? Drop your answer below, because your take matters in this conversation. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell right now. Why? Because this is just one piece of the puzzle. More Sixers news, more trade discussions, and more updates are coming your way, and you don't want to be the fan who hears it last. Stay connected, stay informed, and most importantly, stay ready, because this season could be the one where everything changes.